Prepare for battle.
And we're back in. So, didn't take too long, and we're ready to roll. A quick remake. And for those who do wonder, by the way, a couple of things that are worth mentioning that always kind of come up, and I understand people want to know the different rules of competition. So far as servers happen to go, each team gets one game on whatever their chosen server is, and the other team gets the pick and or side advantage depending on which they prefer. Then we coin flip for game 3 if it does happen to come to that. So yeah, we're on US East to start. That means our next game will be on Polar's chosen server, which I'm pretty sure is Luxembourg, and it'll be EG that gets to choose side or pick first. Nonetheless, we did remake from Captain's Mode as well, as we've spoken to many pro players, and they don't like the fact that there's different starting time from all pick and CM, so we try to accommodate that as well.
Yep, that's good for them, and it is going to be the puck in the off lane. So, or actually, is it? I don't know, they keep walking around a little bit. He just wants to pool. So yeah, it's going to be DK Phobos playing that puck again. And like I said at the beginning, I was quite impressed with him in his recent puck play. Mag is actually going to be playing mid. I'll let you actually do that since I'm just kind of going through each hero.
Taking a look at who's handling who. It is up. Hang on. Illidan going for a DT. We'll snag it. He's going to turn on Zai after eating a fire blast in the face, and they're going to stick with this. He's got IO right in his pocket. Universe took his first point into. They're going to get him because he didn't save his point, understandably so, just wanting to do damage, and instead it's a very quick first blood off of that DD. So EG getting out the gate in a bad way, while Polar, well, they're going to be happy about that.
Kind of a lucky rune, honestly, for VP, but that's kind of something you also have to expect and have in the back of your mind when you do contest runes like that. Perhaps they were anticipating a dual lane mid to start, but nonetheless, nice kill there. Jumpstart, who got credit for it was actually the Witch Doctor, so that'll be fast foods for him. Mag getting his damage sucked off, but at least he does have his Crypt Swarm to get some nice CS.
Phobos getting zoned a bit by PPD. First point into his Poison Touch, and able to move him back out off of that. We'll talk about the lane matchups briefly. Phobos has mentioned on the puck out of the offlane. It's Zai hooked up with PPD, who's on the Dazzle, and Fear farming the Slark here in this defensive tri-lane. The mid matchup is going to be Mag, as you mentioned, on the Death Prophet, going toe-to-toe with Arteezy, who's playing ultra aggressive and has no problem playing like this at this stage of the game. Not a whole lot of DP can do. He's even going to go ahead and drag. No, creeps didn't fall him. But anyway, down at bottom, it's going to be Universe, who's here out in the off lane. He could be in some trouble. He's taking some damage. There's going to be the Stifling Dagger, and this is probably going to be EG's second death, and it will. So EG coming off of a loss to Cloud9 and Dream League, not off to the most auspicious start here in game 1 of this best of 3 either. Give Polar a 2-0 lead.
Arteezy is doing quite well in mid, though. He's playing really aggressive, getting every last hit meticulously, getting that one. Like, this is one hero player. I talked about this in our last cast. I really like watching mid players and their matchups and just how they really start from start to finish. And look at just how meticulous, like every last hit, he gives such great detail to everything. And I think that's really what people appreciate about Arteezy.
Oh yeah, you know, whenever you talk about what separates a professional player from a very good player or what have you, mechanics is the word that everyone uses. But, you know, it's one thing to be mechanical, it's another to search for mechanical perfection. And, you know, at the professional level, you're always trying to be as perfect as you can, but there are just some who come a little closer sometimes. Phobos getting zoned a little bit more up at top. But yeah, Arteezy would definitely put in that category. Eternal Envy would put in that category. A number of players as well. So always a pleasure, like you said, to watch. Like if you're a person who wants to learn these mid heroes, wants to be the next Artour, maybe with better taste in music, but nonetheless the next Artour, make sure you take time to go watch these. Down at bottom, Universe is once again in trouble, and he's down to a quarter of it. Yeah, this is death number 3. The offlane Jakiro not panning out the way EG would like. He is level 3, so he has gotten some XP out of it, but Polar is quite happy to take the feeds where they can get him too.
Yeah, normally you don't see, or at least experience, playing up against the Phantom Assassin lane. It's very good with Wisp in general. I mean, we see this combination all the time, normally in mid, but people sometimes forget just how much jumping potential there is. How far away you can initiate with the Stifling Dagger into your Pounce and the Phantom Strike, and then Wisp follows up with his own amount of damage, and then just every little bit counts. And on a hero like THD, that the second you get caught, you're dead. Yeah. You can't afford to actually play in situations where you normally could get in could get like that little bit of experience. You just can't do it in this kind of scenario. So.
Yeah, speaking of aggression, Arteezy, just by playing so aggressive, has basically opened up a half a level lead on Mag, even though there has been no gank attempt on mid whatsoever and certainly no deaths. He's just doing that effective of a job of winning the lane. He's right on top of Mag now and doesn't have anyone coming over to help gank. Here's going to be a rune, and once again, oh, actually the IO is stuck up on the platform, and Universe is going to be able to make it away. As he does happen to have help. Zai did TP into mid and was ready to come bail his buddy out if such was needed, but instead they're just going to go on back into the jungle. Take a look at the CS chart. It is the PA on top. Razor's out. Arteezy's Razor up. Hang on, they're going to get bagged. One last auto attack and they got him. So Universe saying the hell with the bottom lane. I like mid, and I like rolling around with Zai as they get a kill and a little free damage on the tower as well.
Zai's also got a lot of last hits from neutral creeps and pulling. It's got up to 11 CS. That's one less than a DP. I know it's neutral creeps, but still, just to put in perspective of how much pressure. Oh my god, PPD's taking a lot of damage. He doesn't have a point in Grave. One more auto attack from this and he's dead.
I'm not sure what was happening there. I mean, the puck just lit him up. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. Fear trying to jump onto him. This is probably going to be a worthwhile trade for them, actually. As if the puck had gotten away, then, you know, whatever. But Peter playing the hard 5 as he always does. Trading him for the enemy off lane, I don't think is something they're going to mind that much.
No, I think it's fine. And even the Universe got a little bit of experience, too. So despite him getting really thrashed in the bottom lane, he's level 4, which is not too bad. I mean, it's actually a level higher than Puck.
Yeah.
So not a bad trade at all.
And this is one thing that, you know, it's not optimum, obviously, but if you're a Jakiro, you can actually get into the jungle around level 3 or 4. A couple of points in a liquid fire, you know, dual breath, what have you. And, you know, it helps the stack, but you don't want to overstack. You don't want to take too much damage. But if you're in some trouble, you can go do this. I mean, he's lost about half a health bar, but he is going to be able to bring this camp down. He's still got a salve on him, so he's in good shape there. So he's not going to be falling too terribly far behind in terms of levels. In fact, he's right on par with the Witch Doctor and even the Puck, who was out in the off lane, obviously, for Polar as well. So playing catch up fairly effectively. 6 minutes coming up, and we'll keep an eye on the race for the rune. Will be Peter in Phobos there a little bit late. It's a bounty at bottom. Phobos taking a little bit of right click. We'll be able to orb and jaunt away from once. Yeah, there you go. And behind that, though, look at Mag. Mag, once again, taking a bit of damage.
And speaking of damage, he's got none of it, as he's got 70 sucked away, and he can only get CS now through his Crypt Swarm, which has pretty much been the story from start to finish in this mid lane. They do spot out this Ogre, they pinged him out, so they know that he's there at the very least. But yeah, I just don't know how this DP fits in this lineup. This is like, as you mentioned, like the 6th time straight. It's not Lil playing it this time, but this is kind of like a 4 Protect 1 for PA, except they have a weird, awkward Death Prophet thrown in the middle of it. I feel like if this hero was like, I love Puck. I think that works very well with the lineup. Oh, speaking of Puck, he actually gets stunned right now.
Yep, he manages. Oh, Fear misses with the pounce. Waning Rift will turn him away along with some tower damage. The Ignite was very well phase shifted as well, so does manage to make it away. And once again, Phobos, I mean, let's be honest, you know, yesterday in the 2nd series, hold on, Mag.
Radiant's top
Static lane. Yeah, nobody coming. Thought maybe they would try to dive, but not the case. But I mean, he's played well. I mean, he's, you know, but when your team's doing poorly, it's hard to really stand out. But when Polar was doing well yesterday, he really showed he is a top tier player, and it shows in everything he does.
Yep, but yeah, as far as this Death Prophet, I feel like this was a different hero. Like if they had like Puck mid like tied in the mix to kind of help out these team fights a little bit. I fear that Death Prophet's just gonna get multicast and die.
Yep.
And like not gonna really be able to do anything with his ult. That's the only thing I fear. I think PA is a great pick. I think they've already done great things in the bottom lane, and I think Illidan has the chances to really put this one on his back. But I'm very curious to see what this Death Prophet is.
Gonna be the race for the rune again. 8 minutes in, Arteezy turned away by Phobos for double damage. And Arteezy will take a little bit of damage for his trouble. No one else moving in that direction. Outside of some lane deaths, been relatively quiet. Haven't seen a whole lot of movement towards mid, or what little movement we have seen has been spotted and largely ineffective. And I want to see when they start getting the IO involved. He's now level 6. And the Witch Doctor's coming up on 6 as well. And these 3 heroes together just have the potential to output a tremendous amount of damage. But they may just end up doing, like you said, a 4 Protect 1 approach, where they're just going to let the PA farm and try to make things happen elsewhere. PPD has rotated down to bottom, along with Universe. So We'll see if they're just going to share some XP and let Fear do his thing solo at top for a while, or if they have something else in mind.
Yeah, level 6 for Puck is going to be a huge milestone for them. I think they want to be... It's funny because you're talking about you want to be aggressive with a team with Phantom Assassin, but I think, oh, here comes a possible dive up top. There's no Fear. Thinks better of, and actually the TP's canceled here by...
He missed on the pounce. He went for it. Now Universe down at bottom taking some damage, but with PPD there, they're going to turn it around. Ice Path will catch Illidan from behind. Stifling Dagger on the Universe. There's going to be the cast, going to bounce. Little unfortunately for them. Didn't catch PPD in the midst of all of it, but that was a fair amount of damage done to Illidan, and now Zai shows his face as well. So we're going to be pressuring this bottom lane just a little bit. Bag in the meantime continues to languish there in mid. It's up to 35 CS, but still running quite a bit further behind Arteezy. And Zai's been moving around a whole lot, but to be honest, hasn't accomplished a whole lot. So he's going to look to be a part of a successful fight sometime soon. There's going to be a pounce that finally does catch Phobos at top, but Fear just going to take the free damage and not hang around into the tower too long.
Puck is actually a really good hero against Slark in general. There's not really any way Slark can actually keep him down, even with the pounce connecting. You can't really kill him unless you have a back, or even then if you have an Abyssal, which is a lot of money invested just to kill the very elusive Puck. And also on top of that, you turn the tables around. Puck is very good against Slark and initiating onto him with like a Blink Silence.
Oh yeah.
One of the better tools to actually deal with the Slark. So we'll have to see how DK Phobos can play this once he gets a little bit more farm. It's been relatively shut down here, but he's very close to 6. And I think what I was talking about is I think they need to get aggressive before this THD gets more levels to Ice Path, because that's going to be a big key in these fights, especially when you're fighting around Wisp Relocate.
Yeah. Illidan is off to a good start, so EG has to be feeling at least a little bit of urgency. The build that we're going to see on Fear is going to be, big question mark. Blink, very likely an option here. He's got 2,000 gold tucked away. We'll see if he wants to finish his tier 2s or if he wants to go straight up Blink right off the bat. I want to see if they're going to really go pure active build for him. There's going to be a two-man coil up at top, and here come the TPs in. They're going to jump on top of Zai, and with Illidan landing in along with the relocate from the IO, that's going to be a nice kill. They would have loved to have gotten Fear instead, but we can see just waiting on the return, well-timed, and he is going to be able to tether with some creeps. Don't know that it's going to matter. That's going to be a return kill. So they end up trading support for support. Up at top, Fear's continuing to hang around, got the pounce onto Illidan, and doesn't look like they're that interested in trying to respond to top. Zai's going to show up in mid and turn Mag away, who is using his exorcism to try and pressure the tower. But down at bottom with a max, not quite max yet, 3 points to the liquid fire. This tier 1 at bottom is going to drop very quickly to Universe, and in particular, Arteezy's Razor has not put the point into Eye of the Storm yet, though.
Yep, this is a much more big fighting build than just getting some hero useless like the Death Prophet just sucking out all the damage. Slark does finish his blink, so no treads for him. Kind of interesting, but wants to have the blink ready to go, and he does. Goes back top to farm. It might be a trade, although I imagine EG wants to fight this. We'll see. Exorcism's down for another 100 seconds, so... And we'll see. Do they have Glyph? They don't. So if they want to fight this, they need to fight now. And nope, it's too late.
Nope, they're going to let it go. And they're immediately... Oh, hang on. Fear's going to come in and try to get at least something for it, and they will. Io's going to end up dropping, and there's going to be the coil that's spit just on the Ogre, but the damage from that alone enough to finish him off. And let's see if they can catch anyone on the retreat. Looks like they're running as a pack, and yeah, EG going to dodge any sort of movement after that. Level 6 on the Witch Doctor now. So having his ulti on the ready, going to up the combat potential of Polar quite a bit. Mag, in the meantime, still playing a bit of catch-up. Only has a null talisman. Is it, middle of the board on CS? Do you think Mag's anywhere near where he needs to be, or do you think they need to really prioritize making space for him? Because I don't know that if EG comes together and starts fighting his 5 right now, that Polar's really going to be in a position to contest them. Well, and I think that's just the nature of the hero DP. I think Mag's recovered nicely. Given his start, I think Arteezy really had his way with him in the mid lane. But yeah, he's recovered nicely, but I think his hero's going to have some limitations in the mid game. We've seen so many times where Polar has drafted this hero, yesterday especially, where he just couldn't do anything in these fights. And that was against teams that were not so terrible against Death Prophet, but this one is like, it's really hard for him to fight up against. He almost has Yules, which is really, really good for him, but I feel like Yules is just going to delay the inevitable in these team fights for him. He has to play very, very greedily, I think, actually. But the thing is you also have a PA on your team, so I don't think you can afford to have 2 heroes play the same way like that. Right. And speaking of playing greedily, the PA is going for a Battle Fury, so it is going to be a very farm-oriented build. And I mean, she can certainly come and fight with a Battle Fury, no problem. But it's not quite as... She's going to want a little bit more time. Whereas Fear did go for the Blink Dagger and has up his treads as well. I feel like right now is actually a wonderful window for EG if they want to go fight. Especially, yeah, Arteezy's level 11. I was going to say level 10 and 11. He probably will put his points in Eye of the Storm, and so he did. One that's off cooldown, and I don't know though. Universe only has 1 point ice pass, so getting those points up could be a big deal. They're going to end up jumping on a Phobos behind his own tier 1. Trying to dive him out. Coil's going to be spent on Fear. And he's going to have to wait. Here comes the relocate. He's coming right into a whole team, and Io by himself manages to survive. In the meantime, Fear's going to go right on back in. Fear could end up feeding himself. Io picked off, and it looks like Phobos, the grave is on the Fear, just waiting out. He was hit with an urn charge, so just waiting it out. But EG didn't go as well as they would have liked, but they're certainly going to be happy to take a tier 2 down the bottom. The best VP is going to be able to do is try to trade a tier 1 and then maybe get tier 2. Glyph is up for EG though.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get that in time. I don't know, I guess they have a DD on Mag, so they're hitting quite hard. They'll probably force it. Yeah, there's the Glyph. Some people will TP back and then they'll fall back. It'll be fine. It's a very nice exchange there from EG. That was a very weird relocate from Wisp.
It was.
I think his intentions was to go, and then at the last second he was like, wait, this is a terrible decision, so he just unleashed whoever he was with and just sacrificed himself. So it was a nice last second decision, but a little bit hasty. They're
just going to catch the Witch Doctor for free behind the tower. Zion, in the meantime, taking some damage. Got off the multicast, though. Fear trying to track down the Io. Illidan, in the meantime, managed to get a kill of his own on Universe. Fear still cleaning house, so now going toe-to-toe. There's going to be PPD. Didn't have enough mana for Grave. If he had enough mana for Grave, Slark would have won that engagement. Instead, Illidan's going to try to make it another kill. Now he has enough mana for Grave and uses it on himself. Sai, yeah, just dead. No way to say it. Was curious if he was going to try to do something cute. Not so much the case. And that's a very, very nice turnaround for VP. They even managed to keep the tier 1 up. And it looked like EG was going to take it for free with the power of Liquid Fire and them just being in position first. Slark did get a couple of kills before he ended up dropping, but unfortunately the PA added to her total as well. That's now 4-0 on Illidan, and this is not where you want the enemy Phantom Assassin to be. She's got a great farming item up. It was up in about 15 minutes, if not even sooner. 1,300 gold plus treads and 4 kills. Great start for Illidan.
Yeah, that was so close too with the TP coming out. DK Phobos' coil was up in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Right as Peter was TPing, and it was very close. I'm sure he would have used it to kill him. But yeah, he used his mana. He was waiting there with Grave. I saw him. He had enough, and then I think he used a heal, or maybe he used something.
Shadow Wave, I think he Shadow Wave.
So kind of unfortunate right there, but maybe he still gets stunned regardless, but unfortunate for the Slark had to die. What's his item progression looking like? Not too much after the blink. He finished his treads.
Yep.
Another 1,000 gold after that.
He finished his Aquila. That was added too. He had the Orb of Venom up early.
Illidan's looking like it wants to get a BKB, which is definitely the right decision. Another great thing about Phantom Assassin against, in particular, Slark is that while you can't target Slark during the ultimate when he pops the Shadow Dance, if you cleave next to something, obviously you can still get a great amount of damage. And of course the evasion, you have to force him to get the MKB if you really want him to get that full damage output, which is just not something that Slarks usually prioritize on it.
Speaking of item progression, how about the VP?
Zion.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Zai. Super dead. Did you see the infographic for Starlighter? Apparently Zai went the most in all Starlighter matches.
Really?
Yeah, he averaged the most deaths across the entirety of Starlighter 10. So.
Well, he's got 5 here so far.
Yep, hang on,
Fear's actually in trouble.
Yep, Macro Pyre's gonna go down. Nice Ice Path from Universe, though. Caught too. Illidan, though, just feeling a little too survivable. Fear's gonna have to turn and run. The Io very close to dead. And Universe caught from behind with a cast. There's one big crit and one Crypt Storm. Yep, that'll do. Stifling Dagger enough to secure things for the Phantom Assassin. And EG has got to stop giving up these deaths. That's now 6-0 for Illidan. I mean, and you know, it's not all about kills, but it's just free. It's free money that they're giving him. Free levels. Level almost 12 now in terms of levels. He's, yeah, almost coming to the mid-Razor, and he was a tri-lane PA that was actually grouped up with his team a vast majority of the laning phase. So he is really skyrocketing now. Just off of the back of side. It's hard to call a mistake, just bad positioning. But in mid, Arteezy's next on the list. If they can get him and PPD, there's going to be the grave. Arteezy's going to make him run. Doesn't have enough mana for a TP. Can TP out even if he wanted to try. And Illidan adds another kill. Now Zai's there along with PPD. However, Io relocated back from whence he came. Phobos could be in trouble as Fierce right on top of him. We'll be able to clean him up, and he may find Io. He's going to have a pounce in 5 seconds using the Shadow Dance to pursue now. He's got teammates on the way just in case there is some kind of a reaction, and that's going to be a nice TP that's going to get the Io back home to safety. Universe was on the way, as was PPD. But in the end, the IO able to make it home safe. 12-8, though, remains the kill lead for VP Polar, as they are just really doing well here in the first 20.
Yeah, that kill onto Arteezy is huge because I think Slark is going to kind of lose his pizzazz a little bit. It's really hard for Slark to kill PA. It's very hard for Slark to kill the puck. I was talking about this in general as we hit the mid to late game, or just even approach the mid game. Slark is not that great against puck. So the real hero that's going to kind of put this all together for them is Arteezy on the Razor, but he doesn't have a BKB yet. So slowing down his item progression is huge. I think getting kills on him is paramount here for VP Polar. I think he's going to be the biggest problem here also because the static, or the Eye of the Storm is very good against PA. Yeah, getting kills like that is very effective.
Phobos under some pressure as Fear and Universe wanted to try to make something happen. Up at top, we could have a dive on Arteezy. There's a stifling dagger coming out of the woods. Illidan, nope, not going to dive too hard. The rest of his team is down the bottom pressuring that tier 2, so this may end up being an even trade. Although EG does have a glyph, and actually Polar does as well. Doesn't look like they're going to use it quite yet.
Just mass TP and fight bottom. There's
yep, that's exactly what they're doing. He whipped on it. There's a beautiful 4-man ice path, and that's going to slow the pursuit. There's going to be a weave onto them as well, and EG might think about turning around. Yeah, they're actually going to turn around now, and let's see if Polar's actually going to linger. And yeah, they know they're going to lose 2 there because that was a relocate. They're just going to push back in and rely on the fact that Illidan can't push as quickly as they can as a team. Again, they do have a glyph, and Polar will have to abandon the bottom tier 2, which is already very low to begin with. I mean, it's so easy to forget just how quickly you can whittle a tower down with a few blasts of liquid fire. At top, the tier 2 barely touched. EG still waiting on their freeway. There you go. No more backdoor protection. Down it goes. And let's see if they want to push. Like, they may honestly consider pushing through. TPs, yep, we're going to see Illidan have to withdraw. So not even having to go top. Instead, just going to rattle their saber to tier 3 and force forward to reset.
I don't think they have any business actually taking high ground. I think they just need to hit this and back off. I don't think they can fight this. Coil is not that long of a cooldown. It's going to be up relatively soon. You now on the Illidan. That should signal them to get the F out. They should not fight this. Okay, yeah, they're finally backing. They got almost half damage to the tower. That's very, very good for them. I don't even think they should have got that. But had that Coil actually hit something, I think it would have been devastating for EG. I think EG would have come out very far.
No, I agree with you. EG is, whenever they initiate correctly and whenever they're able to pick a target off or just, make the fight, take a fight on their own terms, they're in great shape. But as of right now, with the development of Polar and the situation being what it is with the PA being in such great shape, I feel like they do have to, here we go, relocate. Universe dead. Hit with the Waning Rift. He's going to try to make his way out. Not going to be reality as Max right there and Phobos there as well. Yule Scepter brings him down to his death. 22 minutes in, Polar leads 13-8. And, I mean, this is just really, like, what was he even doing here? The rest of his team had completely backed out. I understand you want to be greedy and take farm where you can get it, but you have to know that Polar has been punishing you for that so far all game.
Well, at the very least, Universe is only level 9. It's very low compared to what I thought he would be normally at this stage, because he's actually almost respawned, but that's huge. Any kill like that too, close to Roshan at this stage of the game, is an immediate Roshan. With the Exorcism popped up, PA can literally solo it if she smokes in if she wants to.
Yep.
But yeah, very nice. And who got that? It's probably the PA, I'm assuming. Yeah, with BKB, so EG's actually in a really rough spot. The biggest thing too is that come these later stages, if the PA jumps onto Arteezy and Arteezy doesn't have BKB activated, but the PA does, she's not going to get purged. And if she gets a couple lucky crits, that Razor is just going to be completely useless. And that's the one thing I fear here in the late stages of the game for EG, is if this Razor gets blown up. I don't think they have much to fight with.
Wasted smoke. They try to smoke down mid, had the opportunity to get on mag, but really something that we haven't talked a whole lot about is they don't, I mean, outside of Fear getting a nice pound, something on, speaking of, they will catch mag near his own tier 3. This is going to be responded to quickly, though. Shadow Dance will get Fear out of trouble. But they don't have particularly great initiation. I mean, Slark's got a Blink Dagger, so they're going to be relying on that. And other than that, though, I mean, yes, you can hit a nice path, and that'll be handy dandy. But you don't just have a way to jump on a target like you do. There's going to be a two-man coil. Side's gone from the fight immediately. No way to save him. Arteezy BKBs tries to turn around. Doesn't matter. Io's already down, and Illidan is just chopping wood at this point. There's the ultimate from the Witch Doctor. Arteezy will not die to it. Very well timed. Shadow away from PPD. Kept him alive a little bit longer. Doesn't matter. And Puck is there to clean things up with the orb. Phobos and Universe going toe for toe now. Behind that, we can see Illidan still going to work. However, Fear right on it. They will be able to get the Aegis. There's Phobos caught in the macro fire after. Oh, Universe going to be used out of his own TP. Phobos ate a bit of damage. They should be able to finish him off here shortly, though. And, yep, one more auto attack, enough to bring him down. That's a 2-for-2 exchange, but it was supports lost on the side of Polar. They did end up losing their Aegis as well, so not a completely lost cause, but another death on Universe and another death on Arteezy. As you said, slowing him down a big deal. He's not in quite as dire a situation as other heroes on the map, but 2 deaths more than he would have liked. 8-0 now for Illidan on the PA, and she is just getting out of hand. There is a Scotty done on Fear now, though. Speaking of, we're going to see him engaged by Illidan here in mid. He will pounce up to the high ground, and that'll probably be enough to send VP back to their corner to take a breather.
And he does have his, yeah, as you mentioned, Scotty for him. That was a 10-second BKB charged by Razor that was used, unfortunate. Ogre died at the start of that fight, didn't cast a single spell, and that was really big. If he gets one multicast, could maybe change the fight, maybe even ignite to slow people down, but couldn't get anything on him. And I was going to mention one other thing. Oh, the Death Ward's actually quite good against Arteezy, too. It's good damage that you don't have to really target him with. And that did a considerable amount of damage. And people who have the school of thought to not level up the ult for Dazzle level 6, I think are being shown here just how strong it is, because that actually buffed up their team considerably. That was only level 1 ult. They had a lot of armor that fight, and so this is this Dazzle pick coming into play.
I think Weave is one of the most criminally underrated abilities in the game, because it's not like flashy. You don't land it and go, oh, what a big play.
Right.
You throw it and then you're immortal for a few seconds. Like, that's basically how it works.
Oh, I definitely saw it. Like, they were quite tanky as a result of that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like,
that could have been so much worse.
PA, and I was like, where's this? Why is this damage being mitigated? But yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. Nonetheless, EG finds themselves in a hole, and believe it or not, it's not as deep a hole as I would have thought. Taking a look at the net worth chart, we can see they're behind 4K total and 5,000 experience, so they're definitely behind, and Polar is definitely in a situation where they can set their own pace and really take the game into their own hands. But given how lopsided a lot of this is looking, how effective Polar has been at not just picking up priority targets like Universe, like Arteezy, etc., but on top of that, just how well Illidan's done. I mean, when you factor that in, I'm a little shocked that they're not a little further ahead than that.
Yeah, I'm also shocked how underfarmed Universe is in comparison to how he usually is in Red Dead, or the Shakiro, excuse me. He's right there actually with the Wisp as far as net worth. Usually he gets so much farm on this hero, but that bottom lane was just so rough for him, as we saw. I just didn't anticipate the large range of the Wisp plus the PA. And got caught out a couple times, and as a result is only level 10 with minimal amounts of farm. I'm very curious to see when Wisp can build up this mech. He's actually got the recipe, just needs the headdress. And I think Vlad's is really in store for Wisp too. It's a fantastic item for PA. Usually PA, you can see possible engagement up top.
Yep, Fear has the shadow dance. They're right on top of him though. He's going to TP out and be able to make it out. Being engaged by Illidan at any point now, though, is going to be such a major fear for the Slark unless he has his team around him because of the presence of that Basher. And like you said, I'm actually a little shocked that, shocked's the wrong word. I understand wanting the mech up. I feel like going Vlad's, given how good of a start Illidan has. I mean, he's going to have level 3 coup de grace soon. So, I mean, his damage output is going to be absurd. And if he had prioritized getting a Vlad's up a little sooner, I think they could honestly just start to 5-man under towers and their EG to beat them. But Mech certainly got to help out too.
Yeah, I think Vlad's is just because you're buffing up a hero that not only you can give him lifesteal, but when you actually give him damage too, which then gets multiplied by your crit chance, I think it works out wonders. That's a hard completed actually for DP, so Mac has really recovered nicely here from the horrible start he had in the mid lane. There's an aggressive smoke 4-man here coming up from VIRTUS.PRO Polar.
Zai TPing out to safety over in the side shop. That Slark, he'll blink to another point and he'll be able to make it away, so EG either sniffing it out with good game sense or being a little bit lucky at the right time to get their 2 out of the firing line. And Polar still going headhunting, and PPD could be the target. He's right beside them. Looks like they are just going to go ahead and double back to mid and try to reset a little bit. Speaking of reset, Roche going to be up in a couple of minutes. So, and you know, like you said, with the PA being in as good a shape as she is, any kind of a win for Polar now with a Roche up, especially if it takes place close to Roche, is going to end up being a free Aegis for Illidan. So that's, I mean, EG has really run out of any flex they had in terms of making mistakes. Like, they don't have a lot of room for error anymore.
Yeah, and I think as far as what Arteezy wants this build, I've seen him go Shivas a lot, which I think is not bad. I think it would actually work out nicely here, but I think Refresher is fantastic against PA. I think the physical damage of the storm being doubled is very good against the hero like that. I think just in general, it's such a very good item on Razor, and I don't think we see it enough. I know that he likes it. I know he also likes his Shivas, but yeah, we'll have to see what he prioritizes more in this game.
Oh, there's going to be a coil. Fear was trying to TP out and got busted by Phobos. And they are converging. Fear. Oh, actually, that was what really bizarre. Did he get Yules? He got Yules. Oh, I know what he did. He was leaping, he was pouncing and dark packing in the meantime. He dark packed Yules is what happened. And now he's still going to end up dead, but that was one of the more interesting interactions I've seen recently. But yeah, he went to pounce, got caught mid-pounce with the Yules. He was already dark packing though, so when dark packed went off, they completely collapsed it. Fun.
Well,
fun,
that was 5 people there trying to get the kill. They did get it. I think they could have got more out of that, and they were TPing quickly with the relocate afterwards. I don't think they have anything to fear in any kind of 4v5 situation. Not at all. Sometimes in situations where EG will lose one like that, and then you have kind of supporting cast to kind of pick up the slack. I don't think that's the case here. I don't think Arteezy's farmed enough to do that, and he is going to go for the Refresher. I think that this is the right build.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, I was going to say MKB on Fear is going to be essential. And, you know, one of the things about PA, even when she does get fat, especially when she builds like this, which is basically, yes, you have your magic immunity, but for the most part, it's just pure fighting. You know, I'm going to right-click you to death build. Once you have MKB to nullify Blur, she doesn't feel that survivable anymore. She doesn't feel that scary anymore. She still outputs a tremendous amount of damage. But if they get the MKB up on Fear, and they can get maybe a Hex up, oh, no, it's a Ghost Scepter on Universe, so it looks like they're going defensive. But anyway, MKB will certainly help. They do have a fair amount of lockdown as well. And with Bloodlust, eventually, one would imagine getting more points into it from Zai, they're going to be able to get Slark buffed enough to maybe fight it out toe-to-toe with Illidan. But so much of that's going to just rely on good spotted by Zai. There's a nice path to follow up the Fire Blast. Let's see if they've got help on the way. Cool Breath is there. We got both teams converging on this point now. We're going to see the Ogre cleaned up for free. Fear's right on top of it. Pat got 2 of them actually on the tip of it as well. They got Illidan and Mag. Mag has to run. Illidan wants to go toe-to-toe with PPD. Gets off the grave, so now he's down. Yes, cleaned up. Really greedy play there from Illidan. Yules now on the Death Prophet. Mag comes back down, has the Exorcism popped. That is as unfortunate a sequence of events as could have been expected for Polar. And speaking of Yules, there's another catching the Witch Doctor. Ice Path, Fear on top of him. Makes it 3 in a row, triple kill for the Slark. And just like that, EG gains a ton of momentum and goes a long way in erasing the deficit that they currently are experiencing. And really, being able to kill all of the cores, well, I guess the Puck did survive, but being able to bring down the Death Prophet and the PA is such a big deal there as we enter now the later stages of mid-game, now past 30 minutes.
I mean, that streak just basically paid for Fear's MKB. He actually almost has it. So that's really, really scary. I think that Mag was way too stingy with his ult. I was wondering, when are you going to cast your ult? When are you going to cast your ult? And it took him forever to actually do it. And that's the scary thing, too, is that he had to focus, the PA had to focus the Dazzle in there, and he didn't even kill him. He got a bash off, but he couldn't crit him before the Grave came out. And then as soon as that happened, the Grave comes out, it's like, GG, we lose the fight. There's nothing we can do anymore.
Well, about the time that Ice Pack from Universe threw it to catch the IO, and I don't know if he's just that damn good, and he anticipated them moving, to where they moved, but he caught them at the tail of it. Right about there, they should have just run, because whenever Illidan went to re-engage, he had to blink through all of EG, and he blinked into the heart of the line. And yeah, EG took advantage. They take a Roshan off of it. That's going to be a Razor with an Aegis of the Immortal. And this has got to be a worrisome moment for VP. If you're them, how do you react to this? Do you try to wait it out and just farm Illidan, or do you try to get a jump on him somewhere?
I think you're going to have to spread the map with Wisp and PA and just farm as much as you can, and farm as much as you can on the Death Prophet too, and maybe try to take this as some other engagement without the Aegis. I think it's reached to the point of the game where these supports on EG are just going to be way too tanky for you to burst down in a fight on an even keel. I think the Ogre is way too tanky, THD is way too I know he's not a support, but it's kind of like that sort of hero. There's an Abyssal Blade for PA, which is nice, but I think these weaves are going to play a huge role, if not already, in these team fights for PPD. I think this extra armor for everyone is just kind of rendering this PA not useless, but very underwhelming, if I must say.
Might have a chance to get eyes on Arteezy and will. Don't think he wants to engage this solo. There's that MKB done for fear, and at the same time, Zai completes his scepter. So, EG, I did pop it up for a second. Can't see it now. That was the 750 gold kill streak that Fear cleaned up when he managed to kill Illidan. So, like you said, just huge amount of gold going his way and his entire team's way. And I want to see, yeah, look at that. Off the back of that, and just the last couple of minutes of farming, that's a 5,000 overall net worth that was totally erased with one bad fight. And now the experience also moving in that direction, now in favor of EG for the first time in about 15 minutes or so.
Yep, and Zai's got his Ag Scepter, which is really good for Ogre for obvious reasons. Fear with completed MKB. Peepity has a 4-staff for himself, so he's pretty tanky too and can move away. And then Universe with a Ghost Scepter and a Blink picked up almost simultaneously. So they have some very good items. They're ready to push here. They have Bloodlust, they have double Eye of the Storm here for Arteezy. This thing is going to melt.
Yep.
That's only one right now too.
Mags there. Swarm, Arteezy shrugs it off. And one tower does end up dropping the top, but I don't think they're going to worry about it. There's Mag, caught with the static link. A lot of damage already pulled away. That's going to be 84. Behind that, though, the fight's broken out. They do manage to clean up the IO. And Arteezy, yeah, I didn't even see him going by himself again. Yeah, he just relocated by himself in front of everybody. Yeah, that was strange. And that's a free Rax, and that's an unfortunate mistake. Up atop, yeah, did he mean to bring Illidan with him and failed?
I guess. I don't know. That was so weird.
Yeah.
I actually have no idea. I'm not even going to say I don't know.
Tier 2 drops in mid, and Illidan has to hoof it, man. He doesn't have a TP. And he was standing in front of the creep, so EG should know that.
Here's the thing. If he's trying to make a big play and like, oh, I'm going to fake out on my relocate so use everything on him, that works only if there's like an Enigma on the team, where it's like black hole, and then you get him to use a black hole. But this is a THD ice path. Like, that comes up frequently, okay? It's not exactly expending a whole lot, so it's hard for me to believe that he's trying to make a big play. I think it's just a mess up. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say.
Game's hard, man.
Yep.
So it is a difficult video game. There's that Shiva's done on Mag. And, you know, Polar lost their racks. The game's far from over, though. However, that momentum that felt like it was so important for them to have. You know, that's really a kind of a way to look at it with Death Prophet. Like you said, it felt like they were running a 4 Protect 1, and Death Prophet is 100% momentum hero. You don't just want to have a Death Prophet who is just sitting on a 4 Protect 1 lineup the vast majority of the time. And where they were succeeding was they were getting an absurd amount of farm on Illidan. He still tops in net worth despite how badly things have gone for Polar over the last 5-10 minutes. But they were farming him really well. They were protecting him really well. His first death only took place, what, about 32 minutes in, give or take? And they still were having momentum. They still had Mag with his item progression. And since then, since that Vengeance match at the top, EG has just felt like they're really the ones that control the pace. So they're probably just going to go ahead and push. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. They still have the Aegis at least for another minute or two.
Yeah, there's so many things about what we can say about this didn't happen or this should have happened, but I think overall, just this Dazzle pick has just kind of trumped VP Polar. Like, again, as you talked about, it's not very flashy, you don't really see big numbers or anything like that, but it's very difficult for them to actually focus someone down and kill them. It's kind of like the same principle as like if you have an Omni Knight on your team, you feel like you have to kill the Omni Knight first. But first of all, that's a tall order.
Yeah.
And second of all, if you can't do it, like if you can't go on to the Omni Knight, or in this case, the Dazzle, and kill him, you just lose. We already saw this before.
Yep.
So you have to be very, very careful about it.
One, it's not, just to continue to push the Omni Knife thing. Omni has a fairly, it's decent, but a relatively short duration on his ulti. It feels like forever whenever you're on the other side of it, but Weave, on the other hand, has long duration. Yeah, like, he can throw it now. And so long as they engage in the next 10 or 15 seconds, they're still going to get a tremendous upside.
Yep, I think that was a little bit of an early cast, but still, the point
seconds.
Still stands. That right now, at the peak of its time, you cannot go whatsoever. Which is actually, no, I'm incorrect. You're right. That's plenty of duration here.
And it's also the bigger pass again. There's going to be the use. They got Mag and Fierce on top of it. Macro Pyre down. Mag is down just like that. And they look like they were having a hard time figuring out how to even come into this. Lil's going to end up dropping. Now Illidan going to work on Arteezy. Arteezy is going to be critted down hard. Fear, though, manages to get himself a bash. Going to work. Illidan trying to stay alive. Can't do it. Ice Path on the mark and the grave. Had enough mana that time, and Fear's going to be pleased with it. Triple kill for Fear, his second of the game. He's still being chased by Phobos, but should be able to make it away. There's going to be an Ice Path to try and buy a little bit more time. Jaunt might end up being enough, might be enough to secure the kill on Zai. And Illidan back up off the buyback will get a big crit, but he's going to end up bringing down another one now. One-on-one again, but Phobos is right there with him. Universe there with the dual breath. That's going to be a grave, not even needed. Call it fireworks as they end up losing. Yep, I was going to say losing the fight, losing the racks, and eventually losing the game. GG called. And EG, who really did feel like they were on the back foot for the longest time in the early stages of that game, manages to battle back and off of one very solidly one fight at top. Just take all that momentum away and secure a win for themselves.
Yep. You saw at the end there, too, just how much damage Arteezy was doing when he had his double ulti up. Just ran in there, run amok, and just didn't give two shits about what was coming his way. Yeah, he didn't have the Aegis at the time, and this Weave kind of went away, but he did so much damage. Slark also was just in the main fight with, he can just pop his ulti if things are going bad. He has his MKB, which was just pretty much handed to him on a silver platter with that streak ended from Illidan, which was really bad. That was easily the turning fight of the game. Overextension, call it what you want. Also, as you mentioned, them walking into the Ice Path was a pretty big deal. But I think overall, I would still say a better draft from EG. I think they looked actually quite sloppy, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I still think it was a better draft.
I feel like there were a lot of deaths that were just free. Like, that's the only word to use, is just free deaths. And like you said, sloppy play aside, they managed to pull it together down the stretch. Solid performance, of course, from Fear. And, we focused a lot on what was going on with Illidan and Arteezy, but Fear played well, man. I mean, his overall GPM, 585 by the end. That's actually the highest on the board as a whole. And